Hey there, friends. For our reading and phonics today, we'll start off with our phonics. And remember, phonics is thinking about sounds. It's thinking about beginning sound sometimes, a middle sound sometimes, an end sound. Sometimes we're really talking, think about just one of those sounds in a word, and that helps us to figure out words. And we're talking lately about chunks of words or the syllables. Remember that word syllables? Syllables is when we were clapping out, like in our name. Let's say your name was Andrew. We would go, Andrew, and he would have two chunks or two syllables in his name. Well, sometimes those chunks make Chunky Monkey get really excited because it's a real word. And sometimes the chunks are not real words. So we're going to look today at some pictures and some chunks, and we're going to talk about what we're seeing here. The picture at the top we see is of a frog. And when we think about the parts of the word frog, we hear fra, and then we hear og. And then we slide that together and sound out fra, og, frog. Now, Chunky Monkey, he did not see, he's just up there just hanging out. He's just being still. He's not really twitching or moving or excited about the part of the word frog. I'll bring him down closer with us while we're working on this. Um, the next one we have is a picture of a bear. And if we think about the chunks, we go ba and then we go bear. Now Chunky Monkey was like, ooh, 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 ooh. He's twitching, he's jumping, he's excited. He knows that air, just that part air, is a real word. So we're going to push it together to make ba air bear. And let's look at the next one. We have a pair of pants. So we would hear pa ants. And Chunky Monkey was like, hoo, 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 hoo. Ants is a real word. You know what ants are, right? You see them in the summertime crawling all over on the ground. Well, we would go pa, then ants. There would be two chunks or two syllables for pants. I'm going to push that P over and we would sound out like this. Pa, ants, and we would get pants. Ooh, this one has some special stars on top. Now, there are special stars on top because some of my small reading groups have been ready to learn about this. And you guys will know who you are. You have been ready to learn about magic silent E. So for some friends, you're going to say, yeah, I know what that is. And some friends are going to say, oh, I might not be ready for that. And that's okay, but we're still going to talk about it, okay? And so what we see in the picture is of a rope, okay? And if we think about the two chunks, we would go ra and then op, ra, op. Now Chunky Monkey, he didn't move because he says op. That's not a real word or a real, that it's still a chunk, but it's not a real word that gets him all excited. Now what happens with the E on the end, we call that magic and silent because it does not make any sound. But what it does is make the vowel before it change its sound to a long sound. So if you noticed when we said the chunks, we said ra, then o, but we did not make the silent E sound. We did not say ra, op, eh. Because if we called it a ra, op, eh, little dude would show up and be like, no, 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 no. That does not sound right. That sounds very weird. Okay. magic silent E. We call it that because it's silent. It makes no sound at all. But like I said, it changes the vowel before it to be a long sound. So instead of saying ah, we would say oh, because ah is a short O sound, but oh is a long O sound. And if we said ra op, little dude would pop up and say, no, 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 no. There is no such thing as a ra op. That makes no sense. And when it makes no sense, he goes, no, 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 no. That's how we know a magic silent E changes this to the long O. And when I say long O, that means it says its own name. Like when we're saying the alphabet, we say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. That's when he says his own name, just like when we're saying the alphabet. So I'm going to push that R over, and we would sound this one out like this. Ra, op, rope. Let's check out the bottom one. Do you see a magic E at the end of that one? Let's check our syllables on this one. And little dude doesn't fit there very well. We would have ba, and then with our magic silent E, the O is going to say O, or long O is going to say its own name. So try again. Ba, then own, and we know it is a bone. So I'm going to push that B over, and when we sound that one out, it would be ba, own, bone. Now, if we forgot about the magic silent E and we said it as a short O sound, we would get a ba on, and little dude would pop up and say, no, 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 no. That is not a picture of a ba on. There is no such thing. It does not make sense. When it does not make sense, he goes, no, 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 no. Doesn't make sense. You really need to think about what makes sense. It is a ba-own. And so the magic silent E is changing the sound of the first vowel to make a long O sound. And that's what we call it when any of the letters say their own name, the vowels, I mean, then they are a long sound, like when A says A, long A, he says his own name. When E says E, that's long E, and he says his own name. I, that's a long I, and he says his own name. O, a long O, he says his own name. U, that's a long U sound when he says his own name. Let's see what else we have to talk about today. Quick question for you. Did you read it 5 times? Mom, dad, mom, uncle, auntie, grandma, grandpa. Mrs. Atneson, for sure. On seesaw, 1 time. Read the whole book for Mrs. Atneson. Jill's fish. That's the story that Lippy Fish loves this week. He says, it's the best story. It's the best story. Today you have your spelling test. So look in your activities. You're going to do your spelling test with your grown-up. And I have a story for you to read today. And our stories we've been working on are trying to figure out if they are fiction or nonfiction. Fiction is when they are totally made up. This can't happen. It's make-believe. It's not real. And nonfiction is when it's true. It's serious. It's the facts. We learn new things when we read nonfiction. fiction books. So you can tell by my face, fiction is fantasy, funny, can't happen, make believe. Nonfiction, real. Nonfiction, the truth. We learn facts. It is serious. Okay? So I'm going to read this one for you today called The Snowman Book. And you have an activity today where you're going to get to watch a video of this story called The Snowman Book. And then when you're done with the listening of the video, your activity is to tell me use your microphone and tell me if this is fiction, fantasy, make believe, made up, can't happen, or is it nonfiction? The truth, the facts, the serious stuff. Okay. And you're going to tell me, how do you know if it is fiction, can't really happen, or nonfiction, truth? Okay. The Snowman Storybook by Raymond Briggs. In the morning, James woke to see snow falling. He ran into the garden as fast as he could and he started to make a snowman. He gave him a scarf and a hat, a tangerine for a nose, and lumps of coal for his buttons and his eyes. What a wonderful snowman he was. James could not go to sleep because he was thinking of his snowman. In the middle of the night, he crept down to see the snowman again, and suddenly the snowman moved. "Come in," said James, "but you must be very quiet." The snowman was amazed by everything he saw. They even went into James's mother's and father's bedroom, and the snowman dressed up in their clothes. Suddenly the snowman took James by the hand and he ran out of the house across the snow and up into the air. They were flying. Whoa! High above the city. Look at them go. James and the snowman flew for miles through the cold moonlight air, and then they landed gently on the snow, home safe, back in the garden. James gave the snowman a hug and said good night. In the morning, he was woken by the bright sunlight shining on his face. He must see the snowman again. James ran out of his room, down the stairs, across the living room, past his mother and father, and into the garden. Oh, let's see what happened. Oh. He melted. All right, friends. You're going to work on your seesaw job today, your spelling test, and your job about the Snowman Storybook. Was that fiction? Fantasy? Made up? Couldn't really happen? Or was it nonfiction? The truth? Serious? We learned facts from it. Which one do you think? Show me in your seesaw activity.